Hello and welcome to Bustanomics. If you're wondering what the title and thumbnail are all about, I'll give you the TLDR right here. This episode is about fear-mongering. It's about people whose I shouldn't say entire, but some of their livelihood is derived from scaring you. And that is what they're doing. Sensationalism sells, sex sells as well. But making a big deal out of nothing is profitable. Unquestionably profitable. If there is some way to get people riled up and afraid and worried about what's coming down the pipeline, what might be coming down the pipeline, then you had better believe somebody will be trying to capitalize on that. And there's all sorts of different ways that people try to do this, but the way that I'm going to be talking about and pointing to examples of is on YouTube, specifically, but the internet at large. If you have even the smallest amount of intelligence, if you've got half a peanut banging around the inside of your skull, then you are almost certainly aware of this in some degree. But even though we're aware of it, I think, many of us, most of us maybe, I think it still works. The catchy headlines, it being the catchy headlines, the thumbnails, the you don't have any idea what's coming, you've got 14 seconds to prepare, this whole kind of thing. The part that really bothers me about this is how it changes people. If somebody had some inside information, they were a whistleblower, they worked at somewhere, I don't know what they would be working on or who they would be working with, but if they had some kind of inside knowledge, I guess what I'm thinking is somebody that works in some sort of government field, and they knew of some plans that were happening and knew of some or something that was even being done. Maybe not so much plans, but knew. Edward Snowden is a perfect example of this. He bore witness to spying on American citizens, and he said, hey, this is not cool. And so he went and presented this information to the world at large, and now he is in exile, effectively, often, I think he's still in Russia, for letting people know of something that was going on, actively happening. But that is entirely different from what I'm going to talk about, or what I am talking about here. I want you to take a look at this image here. Let's see. Is this the one where I want to start? That's not a great one. I got to stop doing that click when I'm talking. Okay, here's a good one. Let's switch over. What do you notice here? I'll zoom in a little bit. Zoom in a little. What do you notice? Do you see it yet? It should be relatively obvious. So if you aren't picking up on what it is that I want you to see, I'll just spell it out. This video, Raising Children, especially girls, Modesty and Holiness, 818 views. December, $20 prep challenge, 470 views. Channel update, rebranding our name, 323 views. Okay, a lot of sub 1,000 views, of a few sub 500 views, most of them. Stocks are crashing, recession is coming, are you prepared? 4.2 thousand views. Oh, hey, whoa. Bible study, why be set apart? 1.1 thousand views, maybe some lingering people from this. Supporting local business when prepping, 483 views. Oh my goodness. Mass evacuations, FEMA camps, are you prepared for them? 44,000 views. If you're a YouTuber, you are unquestionably, without a fucking doubt, checking the views, looking at the comments, especially in the early days. And this is some of the earliest days of this guy's channel. I don't have anything against this guy. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm using him as an example to show you something that I've been seeing again and again and again and again and a fucking again. People start a YouTube channel. because they want to get their ideas out there. They want to be seen. They want some sort of validation for what it is that they think and do. They want some sort of connection. Why else would you do this? I suppose there's many other reasons, but there is unquestionably, despite what I say about not wanting or not caring about views and subscriptions, there's still a part of me that does check or does care about those things. I don't want to. I really don't. But there's some animalistic attention whoring part of me that sees my subscriptions go up and break the 100 mark, and I'm thinking like, oh, wow, that's kind of neat. And then I have to remind myself that I'm not doing this for you. Even when I said you, I wasn't even thinking of somebody on the other side of the camera. I was thinking of me. And that is who I'm doing it for. I want this as a record. I want it for, if I ever have children, they can look back and see what their father talked about back when he was in his early 40s. And then depending on how long I do this, mid 40s, late 50s. Like, what were the ideas? How much did I change? Did I change? Did I fall into this trap? Did I make some video that tapped into some vein of something and it got 20,000 views? And I was like, well, let's do more of that. Did I fall into that trap? I intentionally, I guess I will be intentionally, because I haven't done it yet, but I have every intention to title this in a very clickbaity way. I want the thumbnail to be as fear-mongering as possible, because I want to see, does that actually work? Does it do what I think it will do? And it might not. It might get 10 views. It might, I don't know. There might be more to it than just having a fear-mongering, scary, spooky, the end is nigh title and thumbnail and getting a bunch of views. There might be, almost certainly, something on the YouTube algorithm side of things where they go, okay, well, that isn't really catching the attention right now, and so we're not going to give this one the presence, the boost, the recognition, not recognition, the stage, the spotlight. There we go. That's the kind of phrase I was looking for. The spotlight that it would need to get out there, because YouTube can make your video be seen by 100,000 people if it wants. If they wanted your video gee whiz, to appear in every person's feed across YouTube, well, they can't make you click on it. I guess they could turn on some sort of autoplay and then, oh, look, they got a view. But I'm not talking about that. If they shove it in front of your face and go, look, here's a thing recommended for you. If they do that for every single person that visits YouTube, the chances that your video gets viewed more than if they don't do that at all is unquestionably higher. All right. The overall theme of this, like I said, is fear-mongering, but it's also kind of the side thing is how to judge somebody. And should you judge somebody? I've heard that you shouldn't judge other people. You've probably heard that phrase too. Don't judge other people. Don't throw the first stone lest you be ready to be stoned or whatever, something like that. But I am of the opinion that to judge is to be human. And if you are incapable or refuse to judge and do so in an honest way, then you're missing much of the point to being alive. You have to be able to judge things. You have to be able to judge whether this is the food that you want to eat, whether this is the time that you want to go to bed or get up. There's so many different judgments that you're making all of the time. I made the judgment to make this video, to turn on the camera, to everything that I'm doing right now, to wear this shirt as opposed to a different one, to put this hat on, to put these glasses on. These are all judgment calls. So anybody that tells you, oh, I don't judge, no, I don't judge anyone, is, well, they're either lying or an imbecile. There's really the only two options. They're either consciously thinking in their soul, thinking, well, yeah, I do judge a lot, but no, I'm not going to say that because that's not a good thing to say. So I'm going to say that I don't judge. It's either that or they're just not aware that they're making. You can't be a person interacting with the world and not make judgments. Everything that you're doing, unless you're, hell, I was going to say unless you're sitting down and just meditating, but even that is a judgment. It's a judgment to do that as opposed to doing any of the other near infinite number of things that you could be doing. I'm not picking my nose right now. Maybe I have an itch, but I go, yeah, I can just move my nose and try and get rid of it. I didn't have an itch right there, but I'm making the judgment call right now to take a sip of coffee. Well, that's not what I mean. That's not what people mean when they say judging. They mean that you shouldn't point to other people and say, oh, that's a lifestyle that's wrong, or wearing those clothes is bad, or that doesn't look good on you. That's the kind of judgment I'm talking about. You do that too. You do that too all the time. I'm going to be nice to this person because the way he looks. If you're in any sort of customer service role, oh, this person sounds this way, so I'm going to treat him a little bit nicer. This person sounds that way, so I'm going to treat it's a little bit harder for me to treat him nice, so I'm going to be this way. If you're not doing that and not consciously doing that, then you're failing yourself. You need to be able to recognize, oh, this person, I'm noticing a pattern here, is doing all this stuff. And it doesn't mean that you treat them poorly necessarily. I would advise that you don't treat them poorly, even if you despise everything that they do. I would say just avoid them. Don't interact with them. Just kind of, just gonna make the judgment call to not deal with that, whatever it is. Here's another one. Here's another channel. This is Appalachian Homestead. Look at all these views. These are her most viewed videos, I believe. Get ready. 5 cans per week minimum with explosion emojis. 358,000 views. Be ready to get out. Big cities will burn. Why is this the face? 336,000 views. Pope moves all funds to Vatican Bank? Question mark. Why money? Why move the money now? Wait, ... Get your cash out. Get your cash out. Do not trust the banks. 2 years ago. He warns it's gonna get bad soon. 1 year ago. This is my favorite part about some of these, is the years ago. My old beginner's prepping pantry list 2 years ago. Get out now. 1 year. Get out of where? Where are we going? What are we doing? Where are we going? 1 year ago. Be ready in all ways. Little prayer emoji. It's coming. What's coming? What is coming? Are you coming? Ooh, I don't think you can put that on YouTube. Here's, what's his name? Prepared Home. The Prepared Homestead. You're out on your homestead. Are you prepared? Here's his most viewed videos. Why I stopped using Stihl chainsaws. Number 1, almost 500,000, well, a bit over 400,000 views. Negative. How much time do we have left? Here's what the experts say 2 years ago. You're still here. I'm still here. How much time did they say? I don't know. But 2 years ago, that might have been a big deal. But you're looking at that. You can kind of chuckle and go, whatever. That's kind of ignore it. But if that were to come out today, you'd be like, oh my goodness. No, not necessarily you, but somebody out there like, oh, what are the experts saying about how much time we have left? But you look at this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's like, whatever. It doesn't. Dan Carlin had an episode that is talking about this. He's talking about the Vietnam War and how many protests were going on. And I think he says in there that, let me see if I can find it. I actually had it in my notes for this very episode. Am I nothing? Bustanomics notes. Here we go.
If you do not...
That ain't it. Okay, let's turn up the volume. Let's drag.
These are fascinating things, though.
Whoop. Hang on. Drag this over here. Okay. All right. Pop this. Do this. Transition. All right.
You hear something like that today, and if you did a poll on it and took out the Black Panthers part, which might influence, what people would say, I wonder what sort of reaction you'd get. Here's another one of the random interesting notes I made. At least 7 Americans lit themselves on fire, self-immolation, as part of protesting the war in Vietnam and an attempt to garner attention for their cause. Many of them did so, I wrote, because they had religious beliefs that were anti-war, Quakers, Catholics, etc. And then I ended with almost all of them died.
At least 7 people lit themselves on fire protesting the war in Vietnam. 7 people. That's 6 more than have done anything that extreme about what's happening in the Middle East. And that was a guy, I think he was chanting Free Palestine when he was burning and Andrew Bushnell, or I just looked this up the other day. But anyways, he lit himself on fire on the 24th of this year, 2024, protesting what was going on over there, calling it the genocide. I think he left some message. The difference, the main difference, and Carlin talks about this, with what's happening in the Middle East and what was happening in Vietnam is there are not thousands of U.S. soldiers dying month after month on foreign soil. I don't know if there's been any U.S. soldiers that have died in that over there. If so, it certainly isn't to the degree that was happening in the Vietnam War. And so the protests at the schools, at the workplaces online happening in regards to the Middle East stuff, war, whatever you want to call it, is more about the funding of that. Hey, U.S., stop funding that. But it's not, hey, U.S., don't be actively involved sending actual troops and bombs and missiles and like actual planes and doing actual attacks there. You could make the argument, yes, I understand. Oh, but we are sending support and we are sending munitions and da da da. Yes, I understand that. I get that. And yes, I don't like any of that. I think bloodshed of any sort, especially when it's other countries and we're somehow funding or helping that in any way, is absolute bullshit. And that you and I have to pay for that through inflation is bullshit on top of bullshit. The point here of this whole episode that Dan Carlin put out just a day ago, you know what's funny? Is this only has 32,000 views. That's it. No surprise. Dan Carlin here is making sense. He's actually speaking well. He's one of the most articulate, well-spoken, skilled orators that I know of in online. He does quite well. I'm curious how much is just off the top of his head and how much of it is written. I know a fair bit is written or I assume a fair bit is written when he does his big hardcore history stuff. Anyhow, the description here says this show could have been called Violent Reflections, as Dan repurposes old work he did on the revolutionary era of the late 1960s. This is not a deep, hardcore history-style look at the period, but is instead a brief gaze at a potential, quote, past is prologue, end quote, moment. The thing that's interesting about that statement there is I imagine many people, as I did, will read that past is prologue and hear, oh, history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. The past, it's a prologue to now. But yesterday, we're always living in the present, continually the ever-present moment. And so there is continually more past being made. And so the past, every time I say this, it is suddenly the past. They're just falling away. The wake of a boat, just... The past is always the prologue to the present. And you can look at channels like these different ones that I've been showing you, just some examples. I had another one. Here's one. Are we being invaded? This is amusing. This is really amusing. Let me see if I can... Does he have a description here? Okay. This is interesting. Okay, so this is from the Prepared Homestead. The title of the video is Are We Being Invaded? And the thumbnail, I can't, it won't show it to you when I start playing the video. Can I go back to the very beginning? No, okay. It shows a trainload of people, and it says invasion or something like that. Let me see. Can I pull it up on here? Yeah. Well, it's not a trainload of people. It's people walking. I don't know how to show it. It's this tiny little thumbnail on my message thing. Whatever. It's a bunch of people walking down a road, like hundreds, maybe thousands of people. They could be leaving a football stadium for all I know. I don't fucking know. Whatever. It's a lot of people, and it says, "Are we being invaded?" And he says in the description, "Just a rant on illegal caravans. Maybe not educated, but some thoughts. If you like what you're seeing on this channel, blah, blah, blah." Okay. When do you think this was posted? I think it was last month? 6 months ago? All sorts of stuff happening down at the border. Mexico, all this stuff. Greg Abbott, barbed wire, the Fed. Oh, okay. No. No, this was posted April 8th, 2019. 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Yeah. It's the same thing. Again and again and again. Again and again and again. Past his prologue. Here's another one. A more likely SHTF scenario. Shit hits the fan scenario. Description. While many people plan or even hope for a scenario that ends in a total loss of government and laws, that is less likely. What we see unfolding in Venezuela... Wait a sec. I'm sorry. Venezuela? Aren't they in the news again? So he just posted this, right? He just posted this like last week, right? No. What we're seeing unfolding in Venezuela is very likely scenario here, and we should be watching and learning. Okay, did he post that last week? No. Nope. This one's older than the illegal immigration one. The caravans. This one was posted April 2nd, 2019. 5 years ago. Past is prologue. You see this again and again and again, and sometimes, like my wife pointed this out to me, I've seen this, I think a lot of people have, but I muted myself. Sometimes it's as apparent as this, but rarely is it as apparent as this. And what is it? I'll tell you after I play this.
Have you ever seen that video where it shows local news people all saying like the exact same thing?
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too...
Take note of the music. Just listen. Listen what Wise Mind 101 is trying to do here. Just note that.
common on social media.
More alarming, some media without checking facts first.
This is the scariest. Well, that's propaganda. They're trying to bend a narrative in a very specific way for everybody. Have you ever seen that video where it shows
The thing that is so funny about all of this to me, the funniest thing, truly, is that the people talking about what they don't want you to know, is it coming? Come to my channel for the inside information, is they're putting it on YouTube. YouTube is the biggest of big tech things that there are when it comes to media. There's nobody that even comes close in terms of what they do. Yeah, there are other video content providers. There's Rumble, there's Vimeo, or there was. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. But none of them are even remotely close to YouTube. It's not... We're talking about the number of fans that follow the NFL or all of soccer or football globally versus the number of fans that that some chess club in Podunk nowhere has. It's not even comparable. The only thing that's comparable is that they're both doing video things. Chess club is, there's people that are they're part of a club, and you could say that the people that are in soccer, they're also part of clubs. That's the only similarity there at all. So it's so truly dumbfounded, amusing to me when you have so many of these people doing all this stuff, sharing all these things, all this fear stuff, when they're doing it on YouTube, saying that this is where you're going to get the answers. What this has to do with judging people is that you, I mean you watching this, me, anybody, the overall you, the specific you, the me, you, need to be able to take a step back and look at this stuff and go, oh, hang on a second. There is some agenda here. There is some motive. And primarily what the motive is here for these, I'm going to show you what it is. I'm going to show you what it is, quite plain as day. Let me pause that. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, I don't know that he's got it on his old videos, but it probably does on the newer ones. Let's see here. Okay. Here's the motive. Right here. You ready? Here's the motive. It's right there. Right there. All this. Perfect supplements, bulk medical herbs, non-GMO preservatives, and free emergency food. Best military surplus and survival store. Do you think he's doing this out of the goodness of his heart? No, he's not. Is he doing it because he wants to help these different places out? Number one place to get gold and silver in 2023. The official prepared homestead t-shirt. Oh yeah, there you go. That's what you need. The official store, the merch store. Tree of Liberty. Bring back Victory Gardens. Okay. Emergency response team. Oh yeah. We've joined forces with Grafted in Designs. Our friends at Grafted. Is this because he wants to help you out? No. It's because he wants to make a buck. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Make $1. Do whatever you want. But when you're doing it through the guise of trying to help people out, and you're in the trying to help people out is done through the filter, the lens of doom is coming. Well, you're a piece of shit. That's it. Here's another one. Here's this wackadoo gal. Look. Out of the goodness of her heart. 46 seconds of Olympic abuse graphic. Is it because she cares about you? No, she has realized, as anybody with a modicum of intelligence does, that the more views a video gets, the more likely somebody is to click on one of these links, these affiliate links. She makes a small amount of money when you click on one of those links. The more views that she gets, the more likely somebody is to click on a link, and the more likely somebody is to click on a link, the more likely that they buy something, and if they buy something, she gets some money. Not to mention that this is probably monetized. I pay for the YouTube Premium, so I don't see any ads. I don't know. But I'm guessing it's monetized. Let's log out real quick. Let's log out. Let us find out. Appalachian Homestead. Let's see here.
Metro presents a
Yeah, it's monetized. Dude, she's got an ad right here, right at the very beginning.
to wireless customers.
I've been a loyal customer since today.
Forever.
Which means I...
She had more ads. I don't know.
Okay.
They used to have the thing where it showed where ads were. So she does this because she makes money. And again, like I said a little bit ago, there's nothing wrong with making a buck, but it really helps to be honest about what you're doing. I don't know that she needs to come out and say, hey, the whole reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to make money and this is... Shut up. And this is what I'm trying to do is make some money. That's not necessary. But the thing that is necessary, that is a requirement, is for you to understand that. Understand what is going on. Anybody online doing the stuff, making the videos, trying to get the views with... especially if they have ads, they've got the ad revenue sharing on, if they've got sponsors, then it's unquestionably a means of revenue for them. And if they're using fear to make money, they're pieces of shit. Seriously. Like you're not a good human. There's something wrong with you. And I'll make that a blanket statement to anyone and everyone, and this includes people that I actually like listening to a lot of the time, Tucker Carlson and Russell Brand, any of them. If your primary means, and I know I just changed that to primary, but screw the primary. If you make money through fear-mongering, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. Now, there is a line. I don't know if it's a thin line, I don't know if it's a wide line, but there is some line between fear-mongering for fear-mongering's sake and trying to get people to be aware, and you're doing that in an honest way. I don't know what that line is, and I don't know when you cross that line. I don't know that it's possible for me to tell when one is one, because sometimes people do have legitimate concerns. They see something, they go, hey, this looks like a problem. For example, I have what I would consider a legitimate concern with the economic reality that we are living in. The U.S. just passed $35 trillion in debt a few days, a week or so ago, and within a week or 10 days, added another 100 billion, according to the little calculator that just continually runs and runs and runs. I don't know if that is just, I don't know what rate that's running or how they calculate it to just go up and up and up like that, but it's constantly going up and up and up, and our debt is astronomical now. So that is something that I see as a problem. Now, I don't know a fix for that. I don't. Is a Bitcoin strategic reserve what saves the U.S. economy from further problems? I don't know. I don't know. When people like Preston Pish and Luke Groman and all the macro economists, Nick Botya, when they talk about the deficits being more than we can spit, then I don't even speak the language, but it sounds like a bad thing to me. It sounds like a problem. I don't know exactly what it means. And what I really don't know is what it means for you and I and business owners and Bob, the CEO, and Sam, the homeless guy. I don't know what it means for all of us. I don't know. I really don't. What I think, and this is a separate thing, what I think is going to happen, I know that I'm jumping ship here, but unconnected to the debt, is with inflation being what it is, with the economy being what it is, what I think will happen is that the Fed is going to ease interest rates. I think it's still like 5.5%, 5.25%, something like that. I'm guessing they ease it somewhat significantly within this year, maybe down to 3% or 2.5%. And when that happens, what will result is more lending, more borrowing. People will go, okay, the interest rate isn't so high. It's not so, I was going to say abusive. That's not the word I want, though. Isn't so restrictive, oppressive. There we go. That's the word I wanted. The interest rates aren't so oppressive. I can go out and take a loan out now to further my business, to grow my business, to start a business, to do different things, to start this project, to add this addition to my home, to build a home, and that allows me to hire contractors. When you lower the interest rates, people borrow money, they do things, the economy gets moving again. I don't know that that's how it should be. I don't think that's the correct way. I don't know if that's the best way, but that is how things work currently. Well, something else people do when they can borrow money is they invest in things. When they have money that they can get at a lower interest rate, they put that money into things that they think will appreciate. They buy a home. That's a hard asset. They buy a fancy car that they can pay off in time, that they can borrow against. They buy paintings. They buy assets. So here comes Bitcoin. It is a finite asset, a guaranteed, immutable, finite asset. It's been talked about by politicians and talk about crazy. There's been a lot of people saying that Trump's speech wasn't all that great, but they're missing the bigger picture of what it's done for Bitcoin and how much recognition and validation it gets by a U.S. politician, our next president, talking about this thing. That's fucking massive. Well, interest rates go down to some degree, assuming they do. I don't know. I'm the last guy that's going to have some sort of insider information. This is just a guess, going off of shit I read on Twitter, because that's a great source of information. People borrow, and people put some of that money, as you're seeing with MicroStrategy doing on a fucking every quarterly basis, it seems like, every couple of months, they'll buy Bitcoin. And you've got the perfect storm coming, and perfect fertile ground, maybe is a better way to say it. A storm indicates something, it implies something negative, I guess, depending on where you stand on the side, where you stand on things. But we have fertile ground for Bitcoin ripping, because if people start borrowing, and you have Morgan Stanley and the likes, maybe more joining soon, being able to solicit the purchase of Bitcoin ETFs. Ooh boy. Ooh boy. If you have Morgan Stanley talking to people about, hey, Mr. Bob, have you thought about putting 1% of what you got here into Bitcoin? This is what it's done over the last 10 years. Your best stocks, your best funds, your best anything, your next best ETF has done this percent, 5% to 12%. Bitcoin over 10 years has done thousands of percent. Even in the last year, it's done 120 something percent. It is unquestionably the best thing that you can invest in. And it's not even close. It's not even remotely close. Yes, there are other things that you could point to for shorter term, quick flipping gains. Yeah, I understand that. Okay, sure. But if you're looking for something to throw your money at and just sit on and forget about and just go, hey, let's check this in 10 years, 20 years, 25, 30 years. Holy shit. Imagine if you were, and I imagine there's some of these people right now, not many, but some people in your early working years, your late teens, 18, 19, and early 20s. And they've heard time and time again, you got to invest. But they also, this individual also, there's like 2 of them in existence right now, probably a half dozen, whatever. They've also been paying attention to Bitcoin because they're listening to Lex Fridman, and they encountered the Lex Fridman with Saifedean. They encountered the Lex Fridman with Michael Saylor, and they started paying attention. And hey, Logan Paul was at Bitcoin Miami a few years ago, and Tim Dillon was there. And so, okay, and they listen to some books, and they read this, and they're a delivery driver. They work for a family farm. They're like, you know what? Yeah, the stocks and all that, and the GameStop. Okay, that sounds cool, but I'm just gonna throw $100 at Bitcoin every couple months, or every month, or every paycheck. $200, $500, $50, $5, whatever it is. Those people doing that, as opposed to all of the others, like, you're gonna get a 401k, you gotta start putting money into that, because that's always been so lucrative and helpful and helps you retire early. Okay. It'd be interesting to see where those people are, however many there are in existence, where they're at in 10, 15, 25 years. Because I have a feeling that you're going to see in the year, where are we at right now? 2024, around 2040, 16 years from now. I have a feeling you will have all kinds of videos on YouTube or whatever platform is popular then, Rumble, this or that, Ding Dong Video, X Hamster, whatever the fuck, whatever is popular. I have a feeling you will see plenty of videos saying how I retired at 35, how I retired in my 40s, how I retired before I was even 30, how I retired this. Well, what I did when I was 18. So it was, I remember it quite clearly. This is somebody saying this. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember it. So when GameStop was popping off, I started to pay attention to investing. I was looking at it a little more, and I was 20 at the time. And I looked at it, and I watched a lot of videos, and I don't remember exactly how I got there, but I started learning about Bitcoin, and I thought, you know what? All the stocks, the up and down, and the roaring. There was this guy who he dressed up like a cat or something, or no, he didn't dress up like a cat. He wasn't a cat, but he had a headband, and he was all into GameStop, and he made a bunch of money, and a bunch of other people trying to make money. So I was paying attention to that stuff. I was 20 years at the time, 20 years old. And I got interested in Bitcoin. I was reading about it, and I thought, boy, this really seems like it's a lot better of a thing. And so I just started putting, I think it was like $100 a month into it. And this is what I was like 20, 2022 or something around there, 2023, somewhere in there. And I just started throwing $100 a month at it. And before I knew it, I had something like, I don't know, I think I got up to about nearly half a Bitcoin, because when I'd get birthday gifts or a bonus, I'd put that into it too. So I got up to about a half a Bitcoin. And now, it's 2041. So here we are 20 years later. And yeah, I'm a multimillionaire. And I was able to sell a little bit of my Bitcoin. I was able to buy this home. I was able to start a business. I was able to do this. Like, that doesn't seem completely outside of the realm of possibility to me at all. I don't know that that's going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's definitely going to happen. I'm not going to say, oh, get ready, it's coming, the end is nigh. If I ever do that in a serious way, then I've fucked up. I've really fucked up. Seriously. I need somebody to come along and be like, hey, remember that video where you made the tongue-in-cheek title and thumbnail about, the end is coming. Prepare now. You have no idea what's about to come around the corner. Do you remember that? And how saying you wouldn't do that kind of stuff? I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. I have no interest in doing that kind of stuff. It's from what I can tell, most of the time driven by greed. It's driven by fear is what it's driven by. It's somebody's own either true fear. Like when I see this image here, where is one? I titled this one Pure Fear. Is this somebody that is not afraid of the future? What is a wolf prepper and how to prepare for them? They're planning for war, prep 1 to 3 years minimum. 2 years ago. How to survive if you're old. This may be the most serious thing happening right down here by my shoulder. Down here. Most serious thing happening. 68,000 views. Is this somebody that is not afraid? Is this somebody that is walking through life courageously and with his shoulders pulled back and his head held high? I don't know. Doesn't seem like it. Seems like he's terrified. And if you go, well, it doesn't seem like he's terrified. Chaos is coming. Be ready to resist. Good Lord. Why do I think he's afraid? I think he's afraid for one reason primarily, and a second reason maybe in a broader sense. I think number one, as you can see in his video descriptions, the guy wants to make a buck. He's afraid of not making that money. This stuff that he does generates some amount of income for him. Some amount. I had a channel with my wife that didn't even have 10,000 subscribers. It had 6,000 and something. And we were making, from YouTube ad revenue, something like $100 a month. I think some of the months, like some of the earlier months when I was doing Warhammer readings, we made like $350 a month. That was with a channel with less than 10,000 subscribers. I don't know how much you get if your views are thousands. Most of our videos were not getting thousands of views. Maybe a couple, few hundred, maybe a couple thousand on some of them, but not tens of thousands. Maybe I think a few of the Warhammer videos got a 10,000 one. A couple of them broke that range. I think the most that everyone ever got was something like 40,000 views, and that was huge for us. And when I first started reading the Warhammer stuff, and they did better than anything else that we did, that's kind of what drove me down that path. Let's follow this thread. Hell yeah. Because we were trying to get a popular YouTube channel, like popular-ish. Not like, top YouTube channel. We weren't trying to do that. We just wanted it to make money. That was the goal. And so, if you're homestead prep, whatever, any of these people, You tap a vein, you see that it gets views, and that is initially what you wanted when you got on YouTube, and then it gets you 1,000 subscribers, and you start seeing stuff, and then maybe somebody contacts you, hey, we saw that your channel's doing pretty good, and you just broke 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, 50,000 subscribers. Would you be interested in partnering with us with a thing? We'll give you X dollars a month if you mention our product. Sure, yeah, that sounds cool. What is it you sell? That should have been the first question. It should have been, what is it that you do? What are you about? Let me look into you. Not, yeah, sure, that sounds good. I'll make a couple $100. But once you start making that money, let's assume this guy makes $1,000 a month. Let's say it's 500. Let's have it. Let's be conservative. Once you're making $500 a month, you're going to find a use for that $500 a month. You're not going to ignore it. It isn't going to just sit there in the YouTube ad revenue thing. Just, oh, yeah, I didn't even know I was getting that. You don't have links for affiliates. You don't have affiliate links. You don't have ads turned on. You don't have all this stuff if you don't care about money. And most people, the recession, the economy, they care about money to some degree. Point here is that if you're making money from your YouTube channel, it's generating you income, there's a really, really good chance you are doing something with that income, whether it's saving it, stashing it, whether it's pulling it out of the bank and putting it in cash and burying it, whatever it is that you're doing, you have grown accustomed, yeah, yes, you have grown accustomed, yeah, I don't know, that didn't sound right to me for some reason. You've grown accustomed to this money coming in, so you want it to keep coming in, and you probably want more of it. Oh, I got $500 a month. It'd be nice if I could get 550. I made 550. Sure would be nice if I could get to 600. Shit, I'm making 600 a month now. What if we could get this up to 1,000? Well, how do we get more money? We get more views. More money, more views. You can see it right there on YouTube in the analytics page of the YouTube studio. This video had 80,000 views and it made you this much money. Huh, if I can get another 80,000 view video, then I'll make that kind of money. What did I talk about in that video that made me that money? Oh, fear, FEMA camps, the end is nigh, what FBI agents are doing, what this insider whistleblower isn't telling anybody else. Hey, that's all making me money. I'll do more of that shit. And I'll be able to buy more of this dumb fucking bullshit that I like to buy. Or bury more of my cash. Or stuff it up my ass. Or invest in toilet paper. Or whatever it is that these people want to do with their money. And I don't give a shit. I don't care. I could not care less. Unless it's something wrong and evil, then yeah, I hope they're not doing that. If they're putting it into Bitcoin, great, cool. If they're putting it into Q-tip stocks, okay, whoop-de-doo. If they're putting it into meme coins, you're an idiot, but do you, whatever. But that they're making money off of scaring you and putting fear and perpetuating this is fucked up. I don't know how that my opinion changes on that. The only caveat to that I will say, and I already said it before, but I'm just going to reiterate this, is there is sometimes some valid stuff to be said. Let me think of an example. Okay, the first one that comes to mind is the whole thing that happened in Canada with the truckers. If you are making videos and saying, hey, look, this is a thing that's happening, but there's a way to do it that isn't fear-mongering. There's a way to say, I want you to be aware of what's happening in Canada. I have friends there. They are in the trucker rally, assuming this was all true. This is footage that they have sent me. These are pictures that they've sent me. This is their reports of what is happening there. This is what they are seeing there as part of this whole thing. And this is the bad part about this, and what I want to talk to you about today, is they had their bank accounts shut down. Their car license plates were taken, they had pictures taken of with the street cameras, which is kind of Big Brother and totalitarian and kind of spooky, but whatever. Hey, there it is. It's part of the system that we're in. For better or worse, I think for worse. Their information, part of the government database, was easily accessible, and they said no more bank account access for you. And that's what I'm talking to you about. Like this is a thing to be aware of. This is a thing that could happen. It happened to friends of mine. They can't buy food right now. They can't pay for anything because they have no access to their money. And so here is where Bitcoin comes in and has allowed them to purchase some things. They're able to pay with Lightning and purchase some different things, and they're able to get stuff shipped to them. And people are selling them food and sending them care packages because of Bitcoin. So there you go. Here's a problem. Here's a direct example of it, not just, oh, did you hear what was happening? And this will happen. Just wait, it's coming to the U.S. Here it is. Have you heard of China's social credit score? Ho, ho, ho. What do you think your driver's license is doing to you right now? It's checking your score. Shit pisses me off so much. It's so fucked up that people do that just to make a buck. So the Canadian trucker thing, you've got friends, whatever. That's an example of how you could do that. But you don't say, the end is nigh, it's coming, here it is. You just say, I want you to be aware of this. This is a thing. Here is a possible solution. One of maybe other solutions. Cash still works, obviously, if you're able to get some. So that is an example of a way to do something that could be construed as fear-mongering, but here is a problem, here's a solution for it. All the other examples that I already pointed out to you is the way to not do that. Prepared Homesteader, Appalachian Homestead, all these fucking prepared, all these fear-mongering, they can go fuck themselves. And Tucker Carlson and Russell Brand, whenever they do the same thing, they can go fuck themselves as well. Now, I'm not saying that they do this regularly. They don't, thankfully. But it is a thing that they do. Because sensationalism sells, and if you're on YouTube trying to get views, then that is what you are trying to do, is make money. So you will sell whatever sells. Apologies for the child my wife is watching. Makes noise. She's pretty cute, but sometimes makes noise when I'm trying to talk. Anyhow, if you want to start a YouTube channel because you think it's going to be easy to make a buck freaking people out about this or that, and you can make some spooky thumbnails, fuck you.